Okay, we are live again. This is Thursday, November 12th. What time is it? It's like 4:36 in the afternoon here in Ecuador. My name is Gabriel, and this is ODE, Mastery, Teacherpreneur Facebook community of teachers collaborating with teachers, sending the value ladder. And I am here today to wrap up the week. It's been a busy week. I spent this week, Monday and Tuesday specifically. I broadcasted on Monday the teacher mental health and some solutions. And I provided 3 solutions. I provided the suggestion of meditation, where to get good meditation, cognitive flexibility, a free course that I came across that's highly recommended, and I thought that would be a good suggestion to help teachers out. And also emotional intelligence, free course that I'm actually taking, which is pretty cool. And on Tuesday, I did a follow-up with post-COVID-19 teacherpreneurs earning 6 figures, and again, stressing and trying to be very supportive about the mental, health issues that teachers are experiencing because of this COVID situation, because of the anxieties, the stress, anxiety attacks, and everything else that comes with, mental health issues that need to be spoken about and explored. And not just, focusing on the problem, but focusing on solutions, for teachers. So in saying that, today we're going to talk about that again. And I'm going to wrap it up based on emotional intelligence, that free course that I'm actually taking. So hashtag live, hashtag replay. Tell me where you're watching from. And based on that, let me just say this. Let me share my screen first. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. And then, how we all get all like excited about getting props and kudos and this and that. Well, geez, I just got one. I thought it was pretty cool, so I'm going to share it with you. Because since I'm doing this very same thing, right? I'm doing this free course. I got this email from them saying, "Hey, man, you did it, Gabe. You've earned a silver medal for learning yesterday." And I mean, we're suckers for little things like this, right? These are the little things that grab us and make us feel pretty good about ourselves and whatnot. And I got a silver medal in the mail today saying, "Hey, listen, by the way, man, you did a great thing yesterday. We thought that was pretty cool. You're continuing with your emotional intelligence course, and I thought I'd share that with you because I highly recommend it. It's a really cool, self-paced, highly intelligible, and very good for our mental health, to understand our mental health and what to do with it and how to work with that." So, I learned a lot about this. So I want to wrap up today's live, okay, based on that. I want to talk about and continue to talk about solutions, and give you a recap of what I've been learning and developing, with the emotional intelligence / emotional quotient checkup. And that's what today's live is about. It's called Why Teachers Need Emotional Intelligence Quotient Checkup. And during this pandemic time, this is something that you definitely, should be considering and definitely looking into. And I provide you the free, a link for this. Ask me for it. Drop a comment below and say, "Listen, I want that link for that free course on EQ, emotional intelligence, etc." And I will send that to you immediately because I think you'll benefit from it. I know I am. And why not? That's what this community is all about. It's about collaborating and sharing information so that everybody can ascend the value ladder. It's not all about money. It's not all about teaching. It's about you too. It's about your health, and how you, can get grips on that, right? Have options and solutions and have places that you're able to go and get yourself a checkup. and it's not going to cost you a lot. It's just going to cost you time and effort. You got to make that effort. So, why teachers need emotional intelligence quotient checkups? Well, here's my recaps. Emotional intelligence is a set of emotional and social skills which together, all right, they combine to establish 5 things, 5 key points. They combine to establish how good you are at understanding and expressing yourself. Sometimes we believe we know how to do that, and then again, we really don't. But this is a good starting point. Understanding and expressing yourself. How you go about developing and maintaining social relationships. Again, we may find this to be fundamental or think it's fundamental, or we may even think that because, we're adults and we're educators and we got that, we get that, and we don't need to be reminded. Well, guess what? This course has been built by a brainiac PhD, I think, or some kind of doctorate, teacher who is an extreme expert on emotional intelligence. And as much as you think that you got this and that you know this, if you're not an expert in this subject, I'm an educator and I'm not an expert in this subject, but it intrigues me and it has helped me understand my brain a lot better. And because of that, I've been able to reduce my stress. This is about helping you out mentally. Mental health has a lot to do with how we think, right? And the way we perceive things. So, maintaining social relationships, developing them, that's very important. How to cope with day-to-day challenges. Again, you're segued, 20 years ago already, into the 21st century. And, a lot of teachers are now starting to realize that, wow, we are in the digital era, 20 years after the fact. I started back in 1998, when I went back to school to computer sciences and I understood, that I was working on the future. I was looking at things like websites and terminology like, 1 meg, voice over IP. There was no such thing as selfies, smartphones yet. Everything was still pretty much satellite transmissions, cable. There was no fiber yet. There was a lot of dial-up still back then. But things changed rapidly, especially in the last 10 years. So, these day-to-day challenges that you're experiencing, that's within the last 10 years. And I got to tell you, this pandemic has exposed humanity's vulnerabilities. I've said that before a few times because I read it somewhere, I heard it somewhere. It is like I resonate with that statement so much, and it's a reality. Okay, our vulnerabilities as educators is it's there. We have been exposed. We are not prepared for the day-to-day challenges in a digital platform. And I'm not talking about Facebook as a digital platform. I'm talking about the internet as a whole is your digital platform. If you're from my era, 1965, black and white era, or the tail end of it at least, you remember the Jetsons. And back then, as a kid growing up, we used to see the Jetsons as a futuristic family, floating in the sky. And his boy Elroy will go to school, and his school is floating in the universe somewhere. Well, that's where you are right now. This is your 21st century, guys. Embrace it and cope with the day-to-day challenges because it's only going to help you out. It's going to help you reduce that stress, all this anxiety, all these panic attacks that you're having about, this reality is just finally kicking in. How these affect you over a longer period of time. Time doesn't stop for you, right? The first 20 years of this millennium has started. It's going to continue over a long period of time. So you got to learn how to cope with that too. And how you go about using emotional information, right? That's very important. Maybe it's fundamental to anybody who feels like, oh yeah, I get that. You know what? you may get that as an outsider, but as the one experiencing that, you may not even really understand what that means. So, how to go about using emotional information is important. These are things that I'm learning, and I think it's a great thing, and I want to share this with you. Because if you want to start, grow, and earn a six-figure income as an online niche teacher, okay, providing high-value education in a private membership teacher funnel, which I talk about a lot, and go back to my previous videos, okay? I'm trying to help you out, trying to give you a break. If you want to be able to conquer all this stuff, you got to get past your head first. And if you're experiencing, panic attacks, anxieties, all these things that are related to you feeling overwhelmed with being an educator that's undervalued, etc., you need to get grip on that, hit the brakes, and ask me. Comment down below. Gabe, can you send me the link, for this emotional intelligence free course? This is a free course, and it's really damn good. So, it's the way that you blend your thinking with your feelings in order to make good, innovative decisions and build authentic relationships. So emotional intelligence is not a static factor, okay, as it can be developed and improved in targeted areas. And it can change over time. So think about that, Emotional intelligence has been estimated to account for between 27 and 45% of job success. And I've been reading a lot about what's going on, in the education space online for the next future years, right? 5 years maybe or longer. And one of the requirements, supposedly, moving forward, that teachers or educators are going to be vetted with is your EQ, your EI, your emotional intelligence, your emotional quotient. And that's going to account for 27 to 45% of your job success. If you get hired and you aim to have some form of digital success as an educator, online educator, you want your EQ to be primo up here. In other words, you want to be able to get your mind right, all right, reduce that stress, and just don't let it affect you. It's not personal, man. It's life kicking you in the butt like it always has. And, we're learning or relearning how to adjust. Don't resist it, man. It's your brain, it's your body. So don't resist it. Just get the checkup that you need. I'm giving you a free checkup. Just ask me for it. Just say, look, send me the link for this free mental checkup, emotional intelligence checkup. I'll give you the link. And then we can talk about it. Hit me up. Let's talk about it. So emotional intelligence is completely different to cognitive intelligence, your IQ. Emotional intelligence and cognitive intelligence are not highly correlated. They're just not. Emotional intelligence is not linked to aptitude, your ability to learn a new skill or to perform. No. Emotional intelligence doesn't measure vocation. Imagine that. I don't care how many degrees you got. It does not measure vocation. Emotional intelligence isn't a direct measure of personality. Imagine that one. You thought it might have been. Emotional intelligence doesn't give any assessment of anxiety, depression, or any other aspects of mental health. Did you catch that? Emotional intelligence doesn't give any assessment of anxiety, depression, or any other aspects of mental health. It does not. Emotions are like seasons. They are always in the background. We can use them to our advantage or our disadvantage and create opportunities for ourselves. So emotional intelligence is something that we develop. We don't just learn this because we go to school for it. Yeah, that's part of the education, right? We're learning. I'm learning this. But it's something that you develop over time. And the older we get, the better we become at it, the more we understand it as well, which is a good thing. So if you're younger than me, and I'm 55. I got my leg up on you on that one. We need to take emotions more seriously and look at the ways that we can work with their impact upon us to make us more effective. Yeah. So the more senior you are within an organization, family, work, whatever, and the more you develop yourself in your career, the more that emotional intelligence becomes important. It is more important than cognitive intelligence in determining your personal success. So I'm going to quote you from Daniel Goleman, who said, and I quote, "There is intelligence in emotions, and intelligence can be brought to emotions," end quote. So IQ is the measure of cognitive intelligence. EQ is the measure of emotional intelligence. IQ and EQ, the measure of cognitive intelligence and the measure of emotional intelligence, are not highly correlated. I just said that. I'm going to repeat it again. Not highly correlated. So that doesn't necessarily mean that if you have a high IQ, that you're not, or that you're going to have a high level of emotional intelligence. It does not mean that, okay? You just have more of a head start. That's what my notes say. Okay, so anyone can become angry. And this is a quote from Aristotle. Anyone can become angry. Let's ask any Latino, okay, or any Sicilian. Ask anybody nowadays who's hungry and pissed off, all right? Anyone can become angry. That's easy. But to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way, that's not easy. Aristotle said that, and he said that about 10,000 years ago. And whenever he was alive, it's a long time ago. I don't remember. But when Aristotle was alive, he said that. That makes a lot of sense. So there are a range of emotions which people will experience on a day-to-day basis at work, okay, in the classroom. All right? The way in which you experience emotions is going to be different on a day-to-day basis, obviously, and it's going to change over time. How you experience your emotions will be different to how other people experience emotions. So you got two people, right? That get angry at the same time, but they're going to have different emotions, different anger emotions. We don't know what that is until we have that conversation. Studies from around the world have shown that there's little difference in people's day-to-day emotional experiences. Everyone thinks, perceives, and feels differently. That's it. We perceive and feel things differently. Yeah. So emotions can be combined to form different feelings, much like colors, basic emotions act to something like building blocks that can be mixed to create other shades. More complex emotions are mixed emotions, and they're blendings of the more basic ones. Emotional intelligence is not about catching and suppressing emotions as they begin to surface. It's about raising those issues, working with those emotions, and recognizing that they contain some very important information. Emotional intelligence is about doing the right thing, making the right decisions, and doing these in the right way. Emotional intelligence is about bringing emotions to the surface and using them in a way that you can drive situations forward. So, how you think about a situation will impact upon how you feel and vice versa. It's pretty cool stuff. And I got to tell you, I'm feeling really good about everything that I'm reading and learning about this. It's just really, it has de-stressed me. The pandemic is going to endure. It's going to go on. A lot more people may die. Hopefully not. But you know what? If the Spanish flu killed 500 million people, this one just might top that. Neuroscience shows that mind and body are deeply intertwined, so that when you do new things, you rewire your brain and deepen your memory. I like that. Emotional management involves emotional awareness. Reading emotions and understanding emotions and capabilities around choice making choice around emotions. If emotional level is low and emotional management is low, people will find the climate demotivating, disengaging, and apathetic. If the emotion level is high, but the emotional management is low, people will be impulsive, coercive, disruptive. If the emotional level is low and the emotional management is high, people will be organizing, productive, considered. Now, where emotional level is high and emotional management is high, where they're both at their peak, people will be working in an engaging way. It'll be inspiring and energizing. It's like that's the perfect recipe, right? High emotional levels with high emotional management. Okay, you'll get inspiration and energized, groups of people, actually collaborating with each other, which is a beautiful thing. So feedback is information that can be used as a basis for improvement. This is something that's very important with emotional intelligence. We may be able to identify it, but we want to be able to have feedback, and this information we use for improvement. Some feedback is good, some feedback is bad, some feedback is helpful. Compliments are positive, but they don't tell us how to improve. Criticism is negative, but it doesn't tell us how to improve. Yeah. So you got compliments are positive, criticism is negative. Both of them don't tell you how to improve. So feedback can be positive and it can be negative as well, but it helps us to improve, and sometimes it's called constructive criticism. Constructive criticism builds up. It doesn't knock down. Okay, it builds you up. It's those positive suggestions like, "Come on, you can do it, man," and let me tell you why. You got to let go and this and that. Builds you up. As opposed to working with feedback and giving feedback, allows you to check your motives. Allows you to ask before you tell somebody what your thoughts are. Allows you to build on the positives. Allows you to be honest about the negatives. Allows you to be specific. Perhaps you could do it this way instead of, go ahead and do it this way. Yeah, that's kind of like, badgering, demeaning, very authoritative. I've done that. I don't do that anymore. At least I don't think so. So emotional intelligence based on feedback. Feedback can be delivered aggressively, too fast or too hard. It can be delivered, can be competitive, has to be dealt with immediately. So when receiving feedback, listen. You want to listen the way you want to be listened to. So we're going to listen. It can be used as a way to improve or do things better. Anyone can take a dislike to something and be critical. That's easy. It's the emotional response, or it's unemotional response. Okay, but to be helpful, you need to explain why you disliked it. And what would you like to see to make it better? That's constructive criticism. That's emotional intelligence. That's a person who has developed that EQ. So, what can we do to make it better? That's a good response. There are some advantages in working with and using emotional intelligence. As a recap, again, emotional intelligence helps to improve relationships. Emotional intelligence helps to maintain control, lowers stress levels, and maintains motivation. Emotional intelligence enables good communication and the ability to work with and influence and persuade others. Emotional intelligence provides you good levels of emotional intelligence. I know, redundant, okay? But that enhances your reputation inside and outside of work. That's a pretty cool dude inside of work. Yeah, he's a pretty cool dude outside of work. All right? But see, those are just advantages. There are also disadvantages. And a lot of people don't like to talk about that. So, what are disadvantages? Let me give you that recap. Emotional intelligence can always be learned. It can always be learned. That's a disadvantage. It's sometimes dismissed as just another management fad. FAD. Emotional intelligence is not relevant in every job role. Well, you're going to be the janitor or just, your tier one or tier two, manager. Yeah, maybe so, right? But if you're the one calling the shots, your emotional intelligence has to be at par, has to be really there. Okay, so the advantages and disadvantages of emotional intelligence show that it can be hugely beneficial to develop. You want to develop this because there are more pros and cons in understanding yourself, your inner self. There's more pros and cons, in developing a sense of, emotional control that you can't leverage, right? In a high position. As an educator, having the right mental health, having the right mental state of mind while you're teaching and not having to displace without realizing it, or being a bully verbally without realizing it, or whatever the case may be, that's important, right? So you want to be able to understand that about yourself, and you want to be able to develop, the type of EQ that puts you at that level of as an educator, and if you're going to be dealing now with global students and you're a teacher funnel, you want to be able to have that sense of like, you know what? I ain't going to let this shit bug me because I get it. It's not their fault. And if it is, I'm going to let them know in a constructive criticism way. We're going to wrap it up. But, at the end of the day, you get to delegate and guide the direction where you want things to go in a positive upward motion. Don't nosedive into that, negative abyss of bullshit and bad habits that you learned back when or whatever. This is the 21st century. Like we started here talking about way back in the beginning, okay? There are new challenges that you have to deal with now. Okay, you got to learn how to cope with the day-to-day challenges over a longer period of time. And you're already into this longer period of time. This is the 21st century. So the first 20 years, it was fun actually, right? Because we disregarded the fact that here we are, we're in the 21st century. But now it's real. There's no taking back the last 20 years. Now it's real. You're in this era. You have this grand opportunity to really make it something amazing. By teaching and by creating, your Facebook community organically, by creating that, virtual campus that resonates with students based on your niche education, that's important. That's going to give you that longevity and that peace of mind that you're doing something that you're passionate about, that you can now you can grow and continue to grow as an educator because you're stymied. There isn't much room for growth in the 20th century brick and mortar mentality. This is 21st century. Trust and verify what I'm telling you, because your future is based on a niche education platform. Facebook is one of the best platforms for you to do it. You can create your own platform, whether you do your own blog, your own WordPress website or Wix or whatever platform you choose. But, you really should be thinking funnel because it's a sales process that you're looking for. You're looking to generate students, bring them into your free high-value service or lessons on Facebook in a private community, private group. Grow that, nurture that, and then funnel them into your teacher membership site, that private, membership site where students will be provided by you a high-value, highly ethical niche education. I continue to suggest 4 modules, 4 lesson plans per, accompanied by the high-value PDF workbook for each lesson, accompanied by the video that correlates to everything that's on that workbook, that lesson, providing them again, additionally, a 30-minute Zoom call free of charge, in case they need it to ask questions or whatever. All right. And all you got to do is generate 100 students. If you can generate 100 students at $97 a month, that's 6 figures a year. The math is real. And it's simple. What it isn't is easy. And why? Because you have to do the work, right? It's organic work. You have to try. Your mind has to be there. You have to have the right spirit, the right mental balance, the right emotional intelligence, and you're already there. It's a choice. It's words being everything, right? So you are learning how to speak to yourself in a way that you trust yourself moving forward. Trust yourself. Dig deep. Okay, and trust that you're doing the right thing for yourself. And again, nobody's going to get mad at you if you want to work for somebody else. Look, I work for them still, but I also do my teacher community, and I do affiliate marketing for teachers, with ClickFunnels, and I provide you guidelines and frameworks so that you can do your own funnels. Okay, but at the end of the day, all right, the hard work is on you. You want to work for somebody, you can. Nobody's going to get mad at you. But for those teachers who want to really niche it down and become their own teacherpreneurs and earn 6 figures, you gotta get your mind right. So, in saying that, I spent the week talking about this. All right, it's on my news feed. I posted the challenges, the new challenges that are out there now. ClickFunnels has the 30-day challenge, which is on my news feed. You got the One Funnel Away challenge. You got the Brick and Mortar Summit. You got the .com Secrets, Traffic Secrets, Expert Secrets books floating on my news feed. Check it out. Trust and verify. You can. Just go check it out. Okay? If you got a question, drop me a comment. Drop me a private message. I'll answer you. I want to answer you. I want to help you debunk whatever it is that you're not sure about. So go check it out. We already spoke about the teacher mental health and some solutions. We spoke about the post-COVID-19 teacherpreneurs earning 6 figures. And now we're just going to wrap it up right now, talking about, the why teachers need emotional intelligence Quotient Checkup. Ask me for that free link. I want to give that to you, And you check it out. It's a really good course. It's a free course. I think it'll serve you well, So in saying all of that, this is Gabriel with Online Digital Education, ODE Mastery. There it is, ODE Mastery, Teacherpreneur Facebook Community. Thank you for watching, and I'm looking out for you guys. You should too. Have a good day.